YouTube, you can show here with a review of the Kamen Rider Gaim Arms Change Series SP. Kamen Rider Gaim Drive Arms. That was really hard to say somehow. So we're taking a step back and looking at a brand new arms change figure that was surprisingly released via normal retail in December 2014, right alongside the TK SP release of Kamen Rider Drive type fruits. And this is a reverse. This is Gaim with a drive motif. And it's just like the other previous Legend Rider releases. We took a look at that Legend Rider SP arms change set, or that was an EX set or something like that a while back ago. And this is very similar to that. So we have taken a step back and designed our package just like the other arms change series, so it fits right in. So if you're only an arms change collector, you don't have to worry about the box being mix-matched or anything like that, because it fits perfectly fine with all the other arms change releases thus far. And it does advertise TK-SP, and at the time, the latest TK release of Machine Chaser, which is number 6. So it does advertise new stuff, even though it is an older design box and an older design toy line. Alright, so included with this guy is the door gun, the door Ju, and the handle sword, the handle Ken. And they're pretty much the same as the ones we've gotten before, except they're cast in red plastic instead of black plastic. And unlike the others, they're actually a little bit different. So while they look the same, their functions are quite a bit different because the wheel doesn't turn on this one. So the wheel is stationary. And with the door gun, the door doesn't open like the one that came with the TK type Technique figure. So that's a little bit out of the ordinary, that it's essentially the same looking weapon that you got before, but they're actually new molds because they don't have those features attached to them. So that's kind of strange. But it does give you another handle Ken and another Dorju to use with your TK figures, since right now we only have one of each. Of course, you do have the drive arms themselves, which is shaped like Drive type Speed's helmet, which is actually quite detailed and pretty neat. I will definitely give it that. They did a good job with the arms in that mode. And here is the all-new Gaim base body. And you might be thinking, why do we need a Gaim base body? We already have several, actually, that are all slightly different. And that is because of this right up here. That's right, his head crest is different. It is now based off of an R, which is more or less Drive's logo, as you can see right there. So that is kind of neat, actually, that they went the extra mile with this and made his head crest shaped like Drive's. And that's kind of cool. Here is the normal release of Gaim. This is from Orange Arms. And as you can see, everything else is pretty much exactly the same. It even has the hole here for the Muso Saber holster. Outside of the head crest, it's completely the same exact figure. So using the drive arms is pretty simple. Just line up the head with the helmet inside, and that will pop right onto the slots right there to give you the drive arms. And honestly, a part of me just wants to keep it like this because I love the Legend Rider helmets, only for the simple fact that you get this, and I think this is hysterical for whatever reason. It's like the big head mode in a lot of first-person shooter video games and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I dig that. To unfold it, I honestly don't really know where to start. You just kind of pry it open and things will unfold from there. It's generally easiest to start with the middle right here, and that will swing backward. This part will swing down and forward. So we'll handle these first. Simply slide them down and they will fit right in that groove and peg right in with a nice little click. So those are nice and sturdy, and of course can still move, but we'll get to the articulation later. Swing that backwards, up and around, just like that. There's an accordion sort of set of swivels right there. So you want it to look like that and sit fairly flush against the against the back. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Make sure his head's all the way down, so you got a nice cool drive motif going on there. And this part's gonna kind of accordion out and down and around, kind of like that. So the instructions actually have a nice little picture of what the accordion's supposed to look like. It's hard to get in there and look on the camera thanks to all of the armor, but I will say the instructions do have a nice picture of that. So this is not the most secure thing in the world, and actually the two spoilers clash with each other a lot when you're trying to do a lot of head movement. They come really close to each other, and this part just kind of likes to wiggle around because nothing is absolutely secure. So you're going to end up with a lot of clashing, and then most of the time when you're looking at the figure, his head's going to get chopped off at most angles, thanks to just how bulky his armor is. But here we have the Drive arms, and I have to say, while it's overall pretty solid, I'm not a huge fan of it. This is one of those designs where it's basically just the rider's helmet unfolded to make an armor, whereas the other ones carried motifs of their chest design throughout, and that's kind of what drew me to those. This one doesn't really remind me of Drive a whole lot outside of the color scheme and the spoilers. So outside of that, I wouldn't really necessarily immediately get a Drive vibe from the way that the armor is designed. Obviously, thanks to the color scheme and the R and the spoilers and stuff, it's immediately recognizable as Drive. But I just don't really like the way that the armor is designed. I don't think it's necessarily the coolest that we've gotten. Shoulder pads are incredibly bulky. They are very, very thick. Thankfully, you can raise that up, so the arm articulation obviously is hindered in the vertical, but not necessarily on the horizontal. So that can go all the way down that way. And like I said, head movement is not restricted whatsoever. You can look back as far as you can, and he's just slightly touching that spoiler. But like I said, in terms of actually photographing him, you're going to get in a lot of angles like that, where he's just kind of glancing over his big bulky armor. But it does fit fairly flush against the back, and I do appreciate that with these arm change figures as well. So while not the greatest design in the world by any means, I still think it's a pretty solid figure. I'm just not a fan. Now, to convert it back into the Drive arms, pre-armness, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know what that's called. Is there a technical term for that? I don't know. Basically just unfold everything and get that going. There's tabs and slots for pretty much everything throughout the base of the armor. So just kind of keep pushing and lining up and hoping that everything kind of fits where it is supposed to. These tabs fit under there, and then these will raise up. Make sure you accordion that properly, just like that, and swing that up. Make sure that those are tabbed on the back, and these go under. This goes up and around, and tabs in there and there. And now we are back to the helmet, and just slide that off. Kind of stick your finger in there and make sure that helmet is nice and secure inside. And we are back to the Drive arms, or the Drive pre-arms, or whatever. And of course, the Drive arms can be used with each and every arms change released thus far, both at retail and premium Bandai, leaving you with about 20 or so different possible Drive arms combinations, give or take, and so that is a lot. Hopefully I'll be able to photograph all those at some point and get them up on the blog post for this review, but for now I'm kind of keeping it with the base Gaim here. So overall, it's not a bad toy. It's a solid release, and it fits well with the other Legend Rider arms perfectly fine, especially in the little helmet mode. I'm just not a huge fan of the way that it's overall designed. At the end of the day, it doesn't perfectly match with them in the armor mode, thanks to how this one is a little bit more abstract compared to how the chest designs were trying to mirror the base rider previously. So in that regard, I'm not a huge fan of the way it's designed. I think the back spoiler is just bulky too. You get a double spoiler action going on there, and like I said, I'm just not a huge fan of the design. However, it does give you a new Dorju and a new handle ken to use with your TK figures, so that is a little bit of a Drive pardon the pun, to pick this up as well. So it definitely has its merits. It's just not my favorite Arms Change release, not my favorite Legend Rider release, and the TK type fruits definitely wins out between the two of these for me. So thanks for watching, take care, and have a great one. Bye.